I'm Robert Pearson, and this is Follow the Leader. And we're going through just a simple Bible study series based on man cards. This card, it's got a verse and some questions on it. Pretty straightforward. So we're in Proverbs 17, and we're going to jump around a little bit because Proverbs is kind of all over the place. But we got three of them that all hit on the same note. Is Proverbs 17, 9, 27, and 28. So, starting with 9. He who conceals a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends. 27 and 28. There we go. He who restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool, when he keeps silent, is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is considered prudent. Alright, what do you think about this? Pretty straightforward. Gossip's a bad idea, right? It's not a good idea to run your mouth about other people's business. And sometimes keeping quiet's the best policy. That's what I love about Proverbs, is it's just straightforward. You don't have to wonder, you don't have to guess. It just tells you, hey, look, this is a smart idea, that's a dumb idea. So what's the main idea here? Very clearly, know when to keep your mouth shut. Silence is a virtue at times. Obviously when no one's in danger, when no one is being threatened, or when there's no clear transgression of law, when no one's being harmed. Yeah, you just keep quiet, deal with things in a private and personal way. And he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends. That's pretty straightforward, man. The most important takeaway. What is the most important takeaway? I think. It can be just laser focused on be quiet, but to kind of expand and think about this. He who restrains words has knowledge. He who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. When somebody says something that pisses you off, that makes you upset, you don't always have to say stuff. It's part of being the bigger man is just not answering insults or unkind remarks in to just be reserved, stay quiet, have that calm, collected, that John Wayne or that Clint Eastwood spirit of just, that's your opinion. It's America, you're free to be wrong. You're free to be a jerk. And just, back away, separate yourself. And maybe sometimes you get a little more distance from the situation, you realize that was silly to be upset. It was silly to get offended at that, or you didn't quite understand they meant something different. You can sometimes save yourself from you being the fool when you realize with a little more distance that, he meant it a different way, right? I didn't hear all of his comment, and I misunderstood the context. So it's some important distinctions. And it's just classic advice. Even a fool, when he keeps silent, is considered wise. How many times do you put your foot in your mouth when you open it? Reminded a little bit of the Apostle Peter. When he's always running off at the mouth and getting corrected. And I don't know, there's a time to be bold and say what's on your mind. And there's also a time to just keep quiet, to think and listen and observe. And take those words you're about to say and run them through a filter for a second and go, is this really a good idea? Or maybe there's a better way to word what I want to say so it has the impact. Not about being disingenuous, but about making sure that you're understood the way that you're intended. Because what people hear and what you actually said aren't always the same thing. And so sometimes just changing a word or two around gets them to hear what you said better than they might otherwise have. So here's a question. Does this mean we should lie for others? How does keeping quiet about other people's mistakes, where does lying start and simply covering someone's transgressions begin? That's a interesting question. When is it snitching on somebody versus when is it something that needs to be found out, that needs to be told and shared? And I don't know, everybody's going to draw the line differently. Some are just letter of the law, it's never okay. But I don't know, Psalms here suggests that there are times when it's prudent to cover for someone, and I would argue when they've wronged you, when you're the one that... Hey, sorry about the abrupt cut. I ran out of space on my phone and wasn't able to fix it until the next day. So, right. When is it lying and when is it covering a transgression, as Ecclesiastes would... Proverbs, there you go. Proverbs helps when you're looking at it. Would suggest is the shrewd course of action. My rule of thumb has always been, if I'm the one that's been wronged, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be shared to someone else. Obvious exception being if it's a pattern of behavior and I see someone else falling into, if this person is fully just unrepentant and, taking advantage of other people in the same way that I was wronged, then there's a common sense, oh, well, I need to let people know, let others know. If you observe two people having a problem, some interpersonal problem, if it's assuming it's resolved and, both parties are done and moved on with the issue, it's none of your business. You don't need to tell anybody else about it. None of my business. The times, of course, that dissolves immediately is when, somebody's being hurt, when it's maybe not resolved so well, and there's, times where there's actual abuse, mental, psychological, emotional abuse, or not just physical abuse occurring. That's when there would be a time to maybe confront parties involved, search out authorities, and make sure problems dealt with and exposed. However, if it was some past wrong and forgive and forget, then genuinely forgive and genuinely forget. It doesn't need to be shared around. All you do is continue to strain that relationship. So, those are my 2 cents. Let me know your 2 cents in the comments down below. Your answers to the questions, any questions you may have, or cries of heresy or whatnot. Let me know. Godspeed.